Peace, Morris. Give me a second. We're going to teach this history. We're going to let the chips fall where they may. So let's give everybody a second. And we're going to teach. So let me check on a couple things. And I'll be ready. 1 second. I got you. Yep. Yeah. Teach this little science real fast. I'm just getting set up. I like to give myself a 5-minute grace period. Get your pencils and your papers, because I'm going to give some good information for you guys. I've heard of him. I don't follow too many people on YouTube, but I've heard of him. I definitely heard of him. I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you. I don't know a lot of people personally, because a lot of Moors, and I'm not saying that the Duke of Tears is a heavy guy, don't get me wrong, but a lot of Moors, they don't deal with each other. I don't know why. They act like some Moors, and I'm not saying that, brother. The brother is heavy, don't get me wrong. I love brothers that's deep. I'm going to always give love to my brothers. But no, I don't know a seer. You said the damn, I forget what you said. But yeah, I don't know that noble personally, but I have seen some of his videos, and I did see the brother speak. So like I say, I'm not familiar with the noble, the Duke of Tears, but I have heard of him, and I have heard people speak of him. And from what I've seen, the legal aspect, because I don't deal with belief system, so I just keep it real. But with me, I break it down scholastically. I break it down illumination-wise for everybody can use it. And I say it's nothing nobody can have that we don't have. I'm just a map and a guide. That's what a prophet and an angel is. It's clothed in the flesh. So I'm never going to act like something is magical. I'm never going to act like I'm the only one that can attain this. Now, spiritual powers is different from law and legal things. That's universal. So I want us to understand that. When I talk about there's no excuse of not knowing law in the court of law, and you can't be confused on the law, especially when people talking about habeas corpus and the Sixth Amendment. I break this stuff down legally and lawfully to where you can't be denied. We talk about the old stuff, that's great, but what about today? What about today? I get all the old stuff. I get up all the queen and all this, but how are you going to operate as a noble today and as a scholar and go to all places in real life? Not just talking about a whole bunch of stuff on the internet, old stuff, not being poor and broke, but really, really and adapt and a noble in real life, a real scholar in real life. And people accept you and look at you as a scholar in real life, not just in the Moorish community. But no disrespect to the God. Give me 1 second and we going live. Yeah, I got it. I'm trying to make sure we get the suit. If I didn't see it. Absolutely. Just waiting for a couple more people to come on. Like and share, man. Like and share. Get your pencils and your papers because I'm going to give up some vital information. Yep. Y'all can have a seat, Noble. All right, I'm starting. It's time, man. It's time. Peace, Noah. Peace, Morris. Allah, Father of the universe. Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my guide, my protector, my salvation, by night and by day. Through his holy prophet, Noble Ali. Shalom Alaikum, Ayah Asha'ayah, peace, peace, peace. Assalamu alaikum, Shalom Alaikum, Hotel. Whatever name you give praise to that higher manifestation, I'm good with it because there's 99 names of Allah. And whatever name you give praise, Allah accepts that. So don't let nobody twist you saying you have to learn the language. Learning different languages is good, but that has nothing to do with righteousness. So understand that. So the first thing I'm going to speak on, like when I talk about law, when I talk about history, and as a teacher, I would never talk about things and will never give reference. If brothers love Bobby Hemmett and all those people that they love posting old videos and Steve Coakley and Dick Gregory and Sheikh Anna Diop or Amos Wilson, John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, if you ever watched Tony Brown's journals, those brothers back in those times wasn't debating each other. Chancellor Williams, those brothers was coming together debunking Eurocentric and Negrocentric propaganda because it's only truth and falsehood. And a falsehood is a belief system, a lie. And if it's written, we all should go with what's written and the ancient teachings and never just say this is that and without willing to share the information. I share the information. I went to the university and proved this. I went in financial debt for academia to prove who I was. That's why I'm a scholar in academia, not in Moorish history, because Moorish history is world history. So when I speak on things and I say things, I give the reference. You can purchase all the references that I use on our PDF book page at mypdfbooks.com. I'm in a red state. I'm not in an area where it's all Moors that look like me. And when I say this, people that don't look like me understand this history way more than a lot of our own people. They know what the fez is, they know what the turban is, and most people that don't look like me are patrons of mypdfbooks.com. I tell y'all I'm a alumni of 2 universities. So I provide books and things for college students so they don't have to eat up their financial aid with books that they pay $400 for, and the professors might use only maybe 2 or 3 chapters of that book. So if I don't have the book on my page, a lot of those students that I know at the university, because I tutor, they'll hit me up and say, hey, Goodman Bay, do you have this book? Boom, boom, boom. They give me the ISBN number. Boom, boom. I go in my database because I have a big database of books through my academic studies, and I go in my database and I provide it for them. The same way I provide the literature that they have put on Amazon for expensive dollars. Like one of our contemporaries on Amazon, this is $250. I have it on our page for a fraction of the price. You can print it or download it to your tablet, take it to Office Max and Staples, and they'll bind it like so. There's no reason, man. I share all the literature. So let's get to the teachings, because this is going to be illuminating. So as the document I just pulled up, 103 amazing facts about the Black Indian of the Western Hemisphere. When a lot of people say they can do things themselves, and I don't argue with that. We pay for what we want. Sometimes we pay too much for what we want. Sometimes we pay for things that's held no value. Like for instance, when I tell people, you have 2 types of products, the products can be the same. So if one product is more expensive than the other product, you're paying for advertising. I give you a good analogy of cereal. All of us have eaten cereal before we was a kid. You go in the store, you got the cereal with the box with Kellogg's or Fruit Loops with all the pretty designs, and you got the bag of cereal. Now both of them are produced by the same company. You just don't know that. They're owned by the same companies. But what you paying for is what? The advertising, the picture, the box, and then you throw the box away. So if this wisdom not important to you, I'm not talking to you. So please don't come on my platforms disagreeing or with your trolls, because I'm gonna follow you and I'm gonna figure out who you are because I have IT and it's my right. If you don't agree with nothing I'm saying, there's no reason to be on my pages. There's no reason to be following me. If you like the teachings, I am tax exempt for the federal government. If you like the teachings, I don't think it's wrong for 5 or whoever, 7 people on my YouTube page to give a small donation to Cash App $KGB. Today, if you want this document, if you have it, great. But if you don't have it, I told you at one point, it was some people that was providing this document for whoever wanted it for $25. If you can find that platform, you should get it for $25. But if you can't get it for $25, I'm offering it today while I'm live for you for $25. All you got to do is send a Cash App $KGB, a $25 donation, and inbox your email, and I'll send this to you. I have it on my PDF books, but today I'll give it to Moors for a discounted price if they want it while I'm lecturing. I'm not here to say what's wrong or what's right. I'm here to challenge you to research and challenge everything. Because when a person say what they don't believe, then that's their personal understanding. That's their belief system. When I tell you to look up and when I research in the Royal Archives, and I can show you a lot of stuff that's in the Scottish history and in the Scots history, all in Europe. When I talk about Russian icons, when I talk about Vladimir Ivanov, when I show you pictures and things, no one would disagree with what I'm saying. Just admit that it's illuminating. And a lot of things has been buried by our own people. So you got to understand that. And if you don't like the teachers, please, I advise you to, there's no reason to be here to disagree. There's no reason. Because if we feel a certain way about history and education and law, we should go to those people and those politicians that's lying to us and do the same thing to them that we think we can do to a brother that's teaching. And you can research everything I'm saying. So this document right here, go on Amazon and see how much they charge for this. It's probably 250 grand, and it's just an outline. So if things is not written and you have to research the researcher, and things is not written and you can cross-reference things, why they try to put information so much, like the real cause of the Civil War. When you research that, that's probably like $1,700 on Amazon. I have it. So it ain't nothing to be all like this, that, and the other. It's the truth, and it's just elementary wisdom. So I'm going to highlight a little bit of this. At times, statements or phrases can use the human mind to tap into worlds or realities where a bigger picture or image of that time zone or reality is given, revealing more information about that reality. Someone else has been responsible for recording the history of my people for the past, and this is doing when this was written, 500 years, other than my own people. The perception of our past is very limited. Our past and how we perceive our past has been shown to us by people who have so far not recorded our history correctly for the past 500 years, during when this writing was written. May these facts penetrate the psyche of my people and cause a mental stimulus that ignites the spirit and breaks the spell of amnesia that currently plagues most of us. And we are in desperate need of total memory recall. So I'm gonna give a little bit of the introduction. This work has been written in a special way to psychologically and spiritually heal the mental and spiritual damages that have been done to the Black indigenous native of the Western Hemisphere, so-called American Indians. It is also designed to make the misnomer Black Indian natives of the Western Hemisphere aware of the psychological and spiritual damages that have been done. It is not for everyone. It's like I tell people, I'm not for you. If you don't know my voice, I'm cool with that. But other people that don't look like me, I teach their kids. Research Angelo Solomon. For a degree of sickness that has been embedded deeply within the well-being of my people have been programmed to think that Africa, Akibalan, and Maximum is their homeland, when home is right under their feet. Come on, man. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with the continent of certain areas, but when we say we Moorish Americans, I hope you understand this. This work has repetitive tones to it for a reason. And when I write, and most of my books that I gathered and compile, I write and I speak from a repetitive tone, for it can penetrate the psyche, for it can stick in your hippocampus. It is designed to deprogram the systematic programming of the misnomer Black indigenous natives of the Western Hemisphere throughout the Americas, and how they have been mentally trained since birth to view themselves, and how they have been mentally trained since birth. We viewing ourselves, we perceiving ourselves as something lower than we are. Understand this. It's no disrespect. No disrespect to no one. When you look up the doctrine of discoveries from this historical aspect, you will understand what I'm saying. I can go on and on through history, even when I talk about the Jamaican Maroons. And when certain areas, no disrespect, when a misnomer European came anywhere, they shipped them to a cold area, Nova Scotia. No disrespect. No disrespect. The writer talked about different historical writers in the past. Like when I say, I respect our prophet. If you follow me on Instagram and things, I study everything. I must. When I talk about Credo Matua, when I talk about Sheik, Falls, and all these other sciences that I study from, you must study all the laws and the prophets and the craft to be a true adapt, to be a true medicine man, to be a true shaman, to be a true tasawwuf. I love my prophet Noble Drew Ali, but I'm not gonna disown all the adapts and all the medicine man and all the Moors from all different continents of the globe that I had the pleasure and the gratitude to study up under. That's asinine. That's just like learning multiplication and dissing mathematics. That's asinine. We act like we can love Sheikh Anta Diop and Ivan Van Sertima, or you don't know about the Black Hitler of Harlem, or you gonna diss Clarence X, you know what I mean, Father Allah, and diss the prophet. I'm not dissing no holy prophets in the flesh that we can say that did a good thing, and we're gonna say we love God and all these and love all these false images. When people talk about some Muhammad, and when I say you couldn't have read and understand the essence of the clock of destiny, and when I speak, we are keepers of this science. We got to understand this, and this information is the work that comes from past life experiences, ancestral spirits. When people be sending their stuff in to some talk about ancestry.com, and I say you're not reading, because that's entertainment purposes. Anytime you see anybody talking more stuff and they say entertainment, it's entertainment. That's how they protect themselves, because you're not reading. I'm not here for entertainment. I say educational purposes only. So that means it's a copyright law. I use things for scholarship. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not going to say some stupid shit on here to try to get no followers. The truth don't need followers. Please. My people know my voice, and the right people get me there. I don't have thousands and thousands like other followers, but I do more work in the community and help so many single moms and kids and go into schools and the prisons than anyone. Especially when people in prisons, their federal rights are being violated. I have all the diagrams, I have all the laws. And I help all people that's in bondage. See, these is facts. I don't come with that play. Never have. Life experience, family members, books, and various teachers who my spirit guides led me to this day and time. I salute the ancestors who struggled and were sacrificed, maintaining the culture and traditions of my people. I salute the medicine women and medicine men. When you talk about the noble woman, we ain't cultured enough to understand what this science about. When we talk about the Ashanti, we talk about all our women warriors. In more science, our empress sits on the throne with us. We got so perverted with this Eurocentric and Negrocentric propaganda. All the medicine men and women that healed us. Just like you get these fraternity people, they'll try to say, "Oh, Noble Drew Ali did this. He was a fraud. He was a con artist." Okay, well, what was Malcolm X? That's what all the stuff he was doing before he was illuminated. It was con artist activity. And the same way a lot of nobles today call themselves Moors are in con artist activity. Then they say, "Oh, Noble Drew Ali was marrying these young girls and this." Well, during that time in common law, see what the age was. See, people will try to criticize somebody and got perverted shit in their own family. None of that stuff was illegal. Look up the common law in those times and then ask your mama how old was grandma when she married granddad. Our people is lost due to a lack of knowledge. Why? Because we refuse to learn. We're supposed to feed the medicine to our people in a time of sickness. If you're sick and you lost, don't you want a guide? And if somebody guiding you, why wouldn't you pay homage to the guide? And I get paid for this in my life. I'm not asking for nobody to pay me. I just ask for donations and I give the literature. And then I say, if you really want to learn, become a student. And the sacrifice to be a student it's not especially if you're a college student, especially if your kids college students, especially if all more say, what do you want your kid to be when they grow up? Students. See, Nomad say great grandma was 14 when she was married and thank you, Noble. See, I love when people be honest and speak the truth, because the truth will make you free. And the truth, when we speak from truth and when we speak from honesty, it cuts like a knife. Because that's healing. I say a lot of us, we won't get on the couch, we won't get to healing, we'll try to bury shit. And I say, man, stop accusing people and you don't even know common law. And then you will see, and you will ask your mama how old was Big Mama when she married your granddad. Your granddad probably was 25 or 30. Your grandma was probably 13, depending on the common law in that area. Probably freaking 12. Why you playing? So I love honesty and truth. And we always are just put our own people down. Well, this person was a con artist. Well, this person was this. Okay, now let's look into reality. They said Noble Drew Ali was selling this and selling that. What people doing today? People selling sea moss and all this. And you don't even supposed to take sea moss all the time. You got all these people trying to sell you something and they ain't in shape. I don't try to sell you nothing, and I'm in top shape. I got a workout page on Instagram. It's called I Am the Morris Trainer. Subscribe to my workout page on Instagram. I Am the Morris Trainer. I don't promote no fucking supplements because you don't need it if you eat clean, because everything from Mother Earth is there for you. That's called soul food. I don't need shit else, and I damn sure don't need no damn sea moss. No disrespect to nobody. So if you're going to say that, what about everybody that's selling snake oil today? Everybody's selling some shit. See? Can't be mad at me. I don't take none of that. I'm 45 years in the flesh, but I'm 9 according to science. I don't take no pills. I work out every day. I run 10 miles every day. I grind every day. I lift weights every day. 7 days a week. Without this science makes 1 week. I don't take none of that shit. I eat clean. I don't promote no diet. What I eat is what my teachers tell me. I'm under a kasher diet. I hope we know what a kasher diet, aka what? Kosher diet. I eat according to my teachings and I eat to live. See, these is keys. And everybody know I'm telling the truth. I salute all the women warriors and the men warriors. Thanks for the donation, Noble. Gratitude. Yep, it's Cash App $ KG Bay. I appreciate you. He like, I need that document. I got it for you. And I'm going to give you something else. So gratitude for the $100 donation. You didn't have to send that much, but gratitude. I'm going to give you way more literature for that donation. So gratitude, Noble. And I respect all the warriors that protected our sacred villages. I salute the women chiefs and the men chiefs who represent our sacred councils. I salute all my ancestors who live in different psychological forms other than a human form. May we all unite as one and drive the demon from our world forever. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Why? Because thou hast rejected knowledge. I'm speaking from knowledge. I'm speaking from wisdom. My people should know my voice. It shouldn't be nothing for my people to give homage and support, because we pay for other things that don't mean nothing. And I say we all do things we overindulge. But if we love this science, and if we're here, I ask the person, how many pair of tennis shoes you have in the closet? How many things do we have? We buy shoes and put them in the closet, but say we love this science and come on here and never give a donation. Why? Or if you came to my physical temple, you wouldn't give a small donation, and I'll give you way more than what you donated. If you say you want to learn, I'll give it to you. It's worth value. Why? Because we rejected knowledge. Knowledge comes in the form of man as well. What's a prophet and an angel? So if knowledge comes in the form of a man, if I wouldn't hear, then you gotta give homage to the enlightened one. What's wrong with that? And if you reject knowledge that comes in the form of your brother, that's a sheik and a god and a map, I will also reject thee, that thou shall be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children. Hosea 4 and 6. So I'm going to give some little highlights in this outline that they sell on Amazon for 250 bands. Black Indians have lived in the Western Hemisphere since time immemorial. Black Indians were not spawned or created as a result of Africans coming to the Western Hemisphere during the transatlantic slave trade, mixing in with native of the Western Hemisphere region, also known as Native American Indians. And let me stop right there. See, Negroes get so caught up in this transatlantic slave trade, but you ain't gonna talk about the Arab slave trade. And the Arab slave trade is going on right now. Research it, no disrespect. Those so-called Arabs, A-R-A-P, not A-R-A-B, research Vladimir Dale's dictionary of what an Arab is. But those Russians, those Bolivians, look what's happening. And look at history of the Arab slave trade, what they was doing to your so-called people. No disrespect. Native or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, also known as Indians, did not refer to themselves or their ancestors as Indians. We use the word Indian since most people are accustomed to this title, just like Jesus. Come on, man. And that's my input. That's why our prophet used it. The word Indian, red man, and Native American are European colonized terms. Native or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere refer to themselves by way of tones, vibrations of expression. Remember, it wasn't any vowels, so your name exhumed who you were. Remember your shamanic name. Your spirit said who and what you were. That's why I'll be like, how can you be a sheik and you're not a tasawwuf? And you don't deal with the Orisha, the Santeria. You don't deal with all the medicines. You tripping. You don't know your arcana, which is just synonymous as your chakras, your ajani. How can you? How can you heal somebody if they sick, if they're not sick in the same manifestation you are, and you banking hard on one goofy ass thing? The name given to us was based upon what type of spirit you possessed. All native or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, possessed different psychological features or philosophical features. Hair texture, bone structure, skin tone vary. We talk about swarthy Moors, when you talk about the black Moors, when you talk about all different type of Moors, but you're still a Moor. All native or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere did not have high cheekbones, slanted eyes, reddish copper skin, or straight black hair. All native or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere did not live in teepees or pueblos. It's difficult for society to accept the black Indian as being native or indigenous, thanks for the donation, Noble, to the Western Hemisphere region, because society has been brainwashed with fabricated fake images of indigenous people in the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians. Most reservations, Indians were carefully selected by the U.S. government to occupy reservations when reservations were being established. The U.S. government, for the most part, selected pale-skinned Indians or Hollywood version Indians to occupy U.S. government-established reservations. The U.S. government selected a certain philosophical type of native or psychological type of native as well, aka Indian, to promote the world as this is the real Indian, as well as this is how a real Indian looks. The dark-skinned native indigenous to the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, were reclassified during the 17th and the 1800s as Negroes and colored. Certain dark-skinned natives were allowed to settle on reservations with pale-skinned natives. Most were not. Pale-skinned natives came about as a result of the original dark-skinned native breeding with pale-skinned Europeans. Like, and I ask a person, if your dad was in the war and he was, say, stationed in Kuwait, or say, I'd say a place, China, all that time, and there wasn't no other women there, and he said he got some kids back when he was in the war, who you think his kids was by? This stuff is too damn simple. A light-skinned native born from this union would again breed a pale-skinned European. Thus, the progeny of this union would become more pale or genetically recessive. After centuries of this inbreeding process, eventually produced the pale-skinned native of the Western Hemisphere. I'm reading the teachings. So if you don't believe what I'm saying, I'm not here for that. I'm here for you to study. The dark-skinned native who did not mix their seed still endured. The U.S. government has reclassified most as Black Americans or African Indians, or African Americans, just like when Jesse Jackson did the African American Summit, just like when the Big Six sold you out as Black, and all them Black preachers that they love took, or a lot of people love took 250 grand, or just like they sold Patrice Lumumba out in the Congo. Certain dark-skinned natives indigenous to the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, were given an ultimatum. Go to Oklahoma, and then when I show you when I show you, see, I told you how history just started bouncing all off the walls, and when I'm teaching, I just start bouncing all off the wall because all this stuff go together. Let me see. Oh, not that one. Hold on. Wait, do I got it up here? I might have took it back upstairs. Let me see. Wait a minute. I might have put it in here. Oh, I don't know where I put it. Oh, no. Oh, well. But when I talk about Tierra, the Washita Dihundiai Moors, when I show you history, and all through history, if it's scholarship, it's gonna start cross-referencing. So you gotta understand that. You know what I mean? That's the fact. Research it. Most dark-skinned native indigenous to the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, who were reclassified as Negro and colored during the 17th and 1800s, have found themselves in the 20th and 21st century again reclassified as Black Americans and African Americans, dark-skinned native, and then in the science and law, Black means deaf. Silver mortis, that's Latin. See, everybody know this, so why would anybody that's heavy, that say they know law and science and love you, talking about, oh, we Black people, we know the law. Anybody saying they Black got to be some type of COINTEL, because Black is an adjective. Come on, that's just elementary science, and everybody can agree with that. I don't give a damn if you don't identify as a Moor. All native people or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, spoke different dialects of language synonymous to the Hebrew or the Arabic, like the Yoruba, the Bantu. All that stuff, man. They know I'm telling the truth. Most early European writers during the 1400s throughout the 1800s included pale-skinned Jews. I give y'all all reference every time I speak. From the writers and the so-called, even the slaves that were that time. Just like when I destroyed that Willie Lynch on the college campus. Destroyed it. Showed that it was propaganda. But as we proceed, most early European writers during the 1400s throughout the 1800s, including pale-skinned Jews, all agreed that the heathen, the savage of the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, I was just teaching my students, some of these fact students, about why they didn't teach us during this. Gratitude, man. Gratitude. And everybody know that's honest, man. And that's why I love brothers when they come here. They're like, regardless if they don't rock with the Moor science, regardless if they don't rock with the Fez, that's okay. But I can teach you how indigenous this Fez is. I can teach you, if you don't like Noble Drew Ali or not, I can teach you about Deuce Muhammad. I can teach you about Abdul Hamid Solomon that came before. I can teach you about the Black Hitler of Harlem that wore the Fez. I can teach you about Seco Fall. I can teach you about all the prophets before our prophet. So why would you argue with me? And then I can show you how Negro Masons destroyed you in a shallow grave and buried you in the North Gate. I can show you why they wear the Fez in clandestine and why it's pinned down their tassel and why I have stars on the front. And I can show you why I have Mecca and Islam, all of it. We honor the patriarch, not the matriarch. And so everybody know I'm telling the truth from scholarship. But as I teach and as I give a reference, watch this. A pale-skinned European by the name of James Adair. This is James Adair right here, an English writer and trader during the 18th century. See, I told y'all, I don't even have to, before I even jump in our writers, I use their pen. I use their pen and show you this. And show you exactly what this science is all across the boards, historically, religiously, and show you what they got in their museums in Europe. To show you that, the Jacobites, the Iberians, the Canaanites, I show you what Oliver Cromwell, not the more Oliver Cromwell and Peter Salmon that was whitewashed out the Battle of Bunker Hill, but the Oliver Cromwell that was doing you know what in the name of religion, just like the doctrine of discovery. Everybody know I'm telling the truth. A pale-skinned European by the name of James Adair. And then also research another European by the name of Bertrand Thomas. He wrote a book called The Arab, and he tell you what the true Arab is. But they took out page 293, I think, of the genetically proven it, but I have the original books. Just like I'll show you the true Jew is the Igbo and the Igbo, and I'll show you that the European agree with me. I get another book from a European named Spencer Dew that wrote about the Aliyhites. See, I go right in Peter Moon. I jump right in my boy that I got right here, and he changed his name to Hakeem Bey. It's called the Sacred Drift of Islam by Peter Lambert Wilson. Peter Lambert Wilson, he got the Prophet on. I got all these books on my PDF books for y'all for a fraction of the price. He changed his name to Hakeem Bey, and he wrote a lot of the Moorish Chronicles. I'm telling you what I know for a fact. For a fact. Hakeem Bey, Peter Lambert Wilson, the one that wrote Sacred Drift, is a European misnomer Jew that came under the science, changed his name to Hakeem Bey. Just like Alex Crowley changed his name to Serapis Bey. Just like Adam Blavatsky, all them Europeans that call themselves Sufis and this and that, they give credit to our prophet. But we don't. And Adair wrote a book entitled, here go the book, The History of the American Indian. In this book, he claimed that the Indians of the Western Hemisphere were descendants of the lost tribe of Israel. The Ishmaelites, all that, it's the same. I hope Moors know how to read. Like this Pestilent brother is a ringleader of the Nazarenes. Right in the biblical scriptures, it tell you who called the Nazarene a call to build Solomon's temple. Hiram Abiff from Tyre. Come on, man. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. Word affairs, everything. The followers of Yahshua, they wore the turban with the jewel on it. They wore the bonnet, aka kufi. They wore a sash. They wore their kuthra, a tunic, silk, or cotton. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. So please, listen, let me read something. James Adair, in his book, History of the American Indian, wrote 23 arguments to support his findings that the so-called American Indians were descendants of the lost tribe of Israel. Nat Turner, Paul Koof, Crispus Attucks, Martin Luther King Jr., Harriet Tubman, Denmark Vesey, Elijah Poole Bay, a.k.a. Elijah Muhammad. I show y'all all this stuff when he had the fez on and what was real. They were indigenous to the Western Hemisphere. Look what he say in the back of the book. Close to half of this book is dedicated to the notion that the Native American tribes are the descendants from the lost tribe of Israel. And then the European anthropologists try to discredit, and say it would determine the original migration routes, but they can't when you deal with the facts. It is thought that Adair's inserted these analysis in the part to cater for popular demand at that time. Ain't no European finna write for no popular demand or nothing. They gonna write for the popular demand for their people. From the mid-7th, just like when I give y'all a book about the view of the Hebrews, I'll show y'all the view of the Hebrews, and you get the Book of Mormon. See, I'll show you how the Book of Mormon, it comes from the view of the Hebrews. See, a lot of times those writers, they check shit out the library and they plagiarize that shit, but they think you'll never find it. I'm a scholar. The Book of Mormon is fucking plagiarized, damn near word from word, from a book from science called View of the Hebrews. Everybody know I'm telling the truth. Every scholar know I'm telling the damn truth. They get mad when I speak like this, but you can't pull no wool over my eyes, because this is what I do. I get paid for this. I come back to my people and teach for small donations. That's what I should do. That's what a person should do. If you got the riches and you an ex-NBA player and you motivational speaking, getting paid to speak to people, you ain't come back to your neighborhood teaching the people for small donations and doing community service, which I do, man, you a distraction. You a distraction. Many scholars postulate that the Book of Mormon, listen, many scholars postulate that the Book of Mormon was partly inspired by Adair's history. Did you hear what I just said? Many scholars postulate that the Book of Mormon was particularly inspired by Adair's history. Why would you think they say his book was inspired by something I just told you? Because the Book of Mormon, it plagiarized a lot of the book called The View of the Hebrews. I teach this shit in college. If I was so crazy, how can I teach all other people that don't look like me? Europeans that think they Ephraim, and I teach the truth. If you're going on tradition don't mean nothing. I'm gonna deal with the science. You just abide to the laws and the tenets. But when we talk about the blood, you can't pass that on. That's truth. No disrespect to nobody. The rest of Adair's work, however, contains insights that can never be rediscovered or elaborated upon. Yeah, right. The wars and gradual conquest of the Native American tribes by white settlers left precious little of their culture available. Yes, no, they didn't. They just took all your stuff and put it in museums of Europe. I'm telling you, I can speak like this because I'm affiliated with all those museums. I show you all this stuff. And I ain't even showed y'all what's in the Philosophical Research Society. I ain't even showed y'all what's in the basement in Princeton in their esoteric library. See, Bobby Hemming wasn't making this stuff up. I'm affiliated with all this stuff he was talking about. And they just be talking. I'll be showing y'all the books. I'll be showing y'all the research. I give it all to y'all. That's why I said, if I was crazy, why would I be doing this in scholarship? Why when I'm at the college campuses, it'd be packed? Well, that's why I be showing y'all where stuff come from, and then I go into the museums where the writers wrote from, and I said not only I got the books, I go into the museums where they got this stuff to put in the books and show you right in the museums. I go right into the museums and show you. I'll go right in the Royal Archives and show you Scottish history for anybody can debunk it. Show you so-called Russian history. Show you who the real Alex Pushkin is. Show you who Mozart is. Show you who was friends with Angelo Solomon, the first Moorish Mason. Show you what they look like. And everybody going to agree exactly what I'm saying. But the goofy Negro. And I'm saying that as a fact. The titles Black American and African American are fake, inappropriate European colonized titles to keep indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, under a spell of ignorance. The titles Black, African American were purposely created to mess up the psyche and spiritually disconnect indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, from their true motherland, which is upright under their feet. Jesse Jackson, which is a South Carolina Cherokee, started and promoted the fake title of African American that has been imposed upon Black Indians, indigenous of the Western Hemisphere region, and it's become quite profitable. One of my nobles said, "Man, you teaching gratitude." Most so-called Black Americans or so-called African Americans were asked if Native Americans are in their family. At least 95% respond with the answer yes. In addition to this, most so-called Black Africans or so-called African Americans are also able to give you the name of the tribe that their relative came from. Thus, the so-called Black African or American or African American oddly insist upon calling themselves Black American or African American instead of referring to themselves by way of ancestral tribe name. Bayer L. I show y'all in all writings, even them European Masons, when I show y'all one of these high books that the Masons use, and it's all about the Osiris mysteries, and the European turn their name to El Elyon, LLL, and they know I'm telling the truth. It survived in our name, which in essence is our true nationality. Your El and your Bay. I'm telling you. Most so-called Black Americans or so-called African Americans find it difficult to accept themselves as being native or indigenous to the Western Hemisphere because of programmed, fabricated images of native people in the Western Hemisphere. Fake image of their own indigenous ancestors has been routinely drilled into the psyche since birth. The misnomer Black Indian images does not register within their psyche because of the fake imagery program that the U.S. government and your own people has instilled into your mind. of how the native or indigenous people will look of the Western Hemisphere. But no writer of that time, even Lewis and Clark, they talk exactly like I'm saying. And then in the 1828 Webster Dictionary, look up and see what an American is. I'll teach you this. And then you see what a Hellenistic Jew is, and see if I'm saying something perverse. You will see what an Eber and a Heber is. Come on, man. And then get Black Laws Dictionary. It ain't nothing in the first century black laws that black used to ethnicity, because nobody used black to describe your ethnicity in first century. So they're dispelling and disproving that Eurocentric and that Negrocentric propaganda of some goofy ass Willie Lynch. The spirit of the so-called black Americans or the so-called African Americans tell them one thing, while the programmed fake imagery of their own ancestors say another. Because you can't get no writings that go against what I'm saying. Everything that's put in front of you is a sign and a symbol and an emblem. You can't get no writings that say this is, unless it's some Eurocentric propaganda like Zachariah Stitchin, that a lot of them brothers that call themselves some goofy ass Egyptologists, and the European to tell you he's a fraud. Talk about some Anunnaki. The Anunnaki is a goddamn Iberian. These is facts. They always try to talk about some alien. I'm telling you what I know. See, they Freemasons. They ain't nothing but lower level Masons. The same brother that wrote Behold the Pale Horse. See, they'll try to get you with spookism and get you with a little bit and then throw it all to some goofy ass alien. Man, you ain't getting me with that trash. They gotta show themselves to me. And I know their affiliation. They'll sit on their hands when I talk. Everybody know I'm telling the truth. Everybody. A Freemason, a European Negro, your whole thing is to lie to people. No disrespect. That's one of the Masonic secrets. Is to deny who Haram Biff is, that's buried in a shallow grave. See, they get mad when I speak like this. Your own people did it to you. The U.S. school system and the media have been some of the two of the biggest giants. Our churches, our brothers that say they educated and scholars, say that your freedom is connected to blackness. How? You can't even explain that. You can't even explain that. You got to remember, native or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, misnomer Indians, built pyramids, built the mounds. When I show y'all Imhotep book, the first Americans were Africans. These is facts, and can't nobody deny it. That book on Amazon is about a stack, probably. Just like the ancient Egyptians, this synonymous mean the same, synonymous comparison of both cultures from opposite sides of the world is because they both were what? Genetically, they both are the same people. I'm telling you. When you look up in the biblical, that was took out the Bible, Joseph and Anaseth. Joseph and Anaseth, and when you start researching things, you'll be like, wait a minute, man. How you say you got something and there's stuff missing, and somebody gonna tell you something Canaan? See, you can't come to me with that trash. The European agree with me, especially when I jump into Zohar, especially when I jump into Kabbalah, especially when I start speaking Kabbalistically. They know exactly what I'm saying. And during the time of Pangea, a European named what's his name? His name is Barry Fell. He wrote a book called American BC. Now, if you're a scholar, you will be able to dissect the truth and falsehood, because there's some truth in there buried in a lot of falsehood. I dissect things. I have to do that. And if he was in the flesh right here next to me, he'd sit on his hands. It ain't no hate. You got to research, and then you got to research the researcher and see if they have a motive. I don't have a motive but the truth, and the truth will make you free. I stand on what Allah loves, all law. I don't arbitrarily explain poo diddly. I already was here. So if I'm resurrecting, that means we're going back to something. We're restoring something back to this original state. But during the time of Pangea, a Greek word that means all one. Then y'all see the commercial that I forget the actor is doing, and he was talking about, and at one time, I forget his name, Morgan Freeman. He was like, at one time, the world was connected, Pangea. And I'd be like, come on. And they'd be like, they be dropping things down, but we pay attention to the dumb stuff. During the time of Pangea, a Greek word that means all one. But we'll listen to the one European lady, Jane Smith, when she talk about how they try to act like Africa is a country or something. But we'll listen to her as she's speaking. Ooh, she teaching, but your own brother do it. They not that heavy. They just take the basic stuff that you should know and make it heavy because we've been miseducated. And then when our brother raises up, we don't promulgate it. We don't share it all over. We post a whole bunch of Europeans talk about they teaching this, and your brother right here teaching. Everybody should be sharing this. Everybody should be doing this, especially if you some Mason, especially if you some in some black fraternity. You should want the truth. The continents on the planet Earth were one mass of land. People lived and thrived during the time of Pangea. A large explanation as to why pyramid builders in the Eastern Hemisphere and pyramid builders in the Western Hemisphere have cultures that incredibly synonymous. The continents continue to move. Some move 4 inches a year. The continents will one day become one mass of land again. I'm telling you, that's why when they talk about things and when we talk about nationality order today, it's getting ready to happen. What comes up comes down, so to speak. The continents are currently separated at this time. However, the genetic link of being from one Pangea never parted. The term Moor was applied to dark skin in the biblical scriptures. In the 1599 Geneva Bible, it called you a blackamoor. Research it. Ed Melanick, the blackamoor, who the so-called was behind the chamber going to learn the science. I'm just telling you what I know, man. And the reddish brown skinned people who were not only indigenous to Europe, but to the Western and Northern Africans. Research a European writer in that time named David MacRitchie, The Ancient and Modern Britons, and he have 2 volumes. You ain't got to listen to me. Research and read instead of just posting books and disagreeing with something, and you got the book in your hand, you ain't even touched it, because most Negroes got a 3rd grade reading level, and then they don't understand or interpret nothing they read. They just read through it or not even touch it. I forget the phrase that we use. It's a term we call that, where you won't have no intentions to do nothing with nothing. So that means you should have a map and a guide. Even misnomer black Indians of the Western Hemisphere were also dubbed with this title. Indigenous black Celts, indigenous black Britons, indigenous black Portuguese, just like when Abraham Lincoln defended the Moor in court before he was a president. Research this stuff. And indigenous black Spaniards, also known as the Moors, had a long time knowledge of the indigenous people in the Western Hemisphere. These Moors were well informed of the different customs, traditions, languages of the natives of the Western Hemisphere. These dark-skinned Europeans. So I was live some other day, yesterday, and somebody was talking about Tyrese, and I was just making a point on Baby Boy, how in Baby Boy it was 2 people in there with fezes on, and the brother said the white black Tyrese, and I'm like, what you mean? Because words are spelled. I hope we understand what we saying when we speaking. Because if we don't understand what we saying when we speaking, we shouldn't even be speaking. We should be here to learn. We shouldn't be just trying to arbitrarily explain things and trying to sound good. We got to understand exactly what we're saying. When I ask a person, what's your nationality? What's your race? What's your status? That's what you should know. All that other goofy stuff, I don't care. Because if you know what you're talking about, that wouldn't even come out your mouth. And they all was informed. The dark-skinned Europeans, the Moors, were used as buffers by pale-skinned Europeans to help colonize the New World. These indigenous black Europeans, the Moors, not only solicited the New World to the pale Europeans, but also waged war on indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, the Indians. This happens today. When I tell people, oh, the Moors killed the this and that. Man, a Negro killed my brother. A Negro killed my cousin. A Negro killed my uncle. I don't have that story of no white man or no misnomer white man. Ain't nobody in their neighborhood got that, because everybody in your community look like you. Ain't no European white man came to nobody's hood and did a damn thing. And I ain't saying that's that. And then no disrespect again, when religious people talk about the white man is the enemy and the devil. How can you say that? No disrespect. No disrespect again. And the person that you call your Muhammad or your prophet don't even look like you, and got the recessive gene of the 6 ether instead of the 9 ether. No disrespect. My prophet and angel look like me. So I ain't coming with that, and I ain't prejudiced or nothing. So don't come to me with that. I'm just making the fact. Everybody talk about they ain't never seen this person, or it's a mystery and everything. It ain't no mystery with me. Nothing. A prophet and an angel is clothed in the flesh. So how can a prophet and an angel be clothed in the flesh and you ain't never seen them? You ain't never touched them. Some magical, goofy shit. Miss me with that, man, magical stuff. I'm tired of that mystical and that old magical stuff. How can a man say he love God he never seen, but hate his brother that he see every day that represents God in the flesh? Miss me with that trash. Miss me with all that magical, mystical, dumb shit. Certain black indigenous Europeans, just like when I go to Europe and I show y'all all the so-called black popes that you don't even know about, the Moors that went under such titles as clergymen and European nobility shared a common consciousness with the pale-skinned Europeans, that the common consciousness being that the indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, aka the Indians, were untamed, heathen savages. See, this is what they be saying. Both dark-skinned and pale-skinned Europeans who were either Celtic, Britain, Gallic, and I'll show you how a lot of Europeans came to the Americas under that Celtic and claimed a Moorish identity. They know what I'm saying is truthful. I'm in Arizona, a red state. Europeans call me noble. And, oh, I love your turban. These Europeans, out here is holy land of Moors. Y'all don't know it. But when you go into Vegas, I can take you right to Montezuma, a goddamn museum. Montezuma, not the whitewashed one. They hung Montezuma because he was a traitor, just like a lot of people be. But that's deeper and deeper. But I'm talking about facts. I'm talking about facts. Kept their traditions. And you try to say the pagan ways. They gonna try to say your tradition is pagan ways. That's crazy. Upon arrival to the New World, ran to the bosom of the black Indians. Just like when I be talking about when you see brunette, y'all don't know brunette is dark skin. Y'all don't know swarthy is dark. Research it. Brunette is not nothing pale. See, I'll show y'all. I'll get it all in the Scottish archives and show y'all what's going on. And every scholar know exactly what I'm talking about. That's why all them brothers that took that oath, them brothers that the Greek is a lie, no disrespect, all those brothers that got branded, it ain't gonna be no way you deny. And I'm not hearing no spookism, but you can't, what I'm telling is, it's just like you can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. I ain't lying to you, you lying to the people. Off with your head. You signed the oath to the Greek, and then the Mason signed the oath to the to the patriarch. Death of the matriarch. The blood oath. That's why they wear certain things on their turban. On their fez. And everybody know I'm telling the truth. Certain Moors helped navigate Christopher Columbo voyage to the New World. Just like when I show y'all the first explorer, look on my Instagram page what I show y'all on Instagram. I show all the books of the first Moorish explorers, the first Muslim explorers. I don't just talk about it, I give you the reference. And I say you can get this stuff. And this stuff be on Amazon for all these different prices. I have them cheaper because I provide for my own people. I have this stuff cheaper. All these books, if you go on my Instagram page, all these books about these first century travelers that nobody talk about, all these dictionaries, these medical dictionaries in first century that people try to hide, all these ancient books, I have them. I'm not just going to say you can't get this book. The Unknown Arab. Go on Amazon and see because you get the Unknown Arab. Somebody sent me a message, and I hate read messages because people always send me messages about, do I know this person? Do I know? No, I don't follow people. But if a person asks me something, I'm going to speak about it. Somebody asked me, do you know this person? And they always hold up a book called The Unknown Arab. And I say, listen, man, I'm not here for that. But are you asking me, can I get that book? Yes, I have that book. I have that book available on mypdfbooks.com. And it was like, Noble, that book was on Amazon for $1,500. But now it's unavailable. It was like it's on other platforms for $1,700, and you got that book and the whole book for that on my PDF books. And I'm like, yeah, it ain't nothing nobody gonna have that promulgate this that a scholar is not gonna have, because I have all my tools. If I'm a scholar and I can get it, it's nothing. I have connections and I pay to do these things. So it ain't nothing nobody can have or say you can't get it. I can get it. And why would you want to pay all that money for a hard copy book that can burn up, or somebody borrow and don't give it back, and you can download it, copy it, and get it binded at Office Max and Staples for a small fee, or I'll do it for you if you want me to bind it for you. And you have it on your hard drive for life. So I'm gonna give y'all a little bit more, then I'm gonna give a little bit because somebody asked me. Somebody like, keep going. Thanks for the donation. If you like what I'm saying, I'm gonna keep saying it. It's Cash App $KG Bay. If you don't, it's all good. It'll be your last time here. I don't care, because it ain't important to you. It's okay. That's why I tell people it's okay with me. Don't come with me with no slander, because I'm like, why the hell are you here? Listen to me for an hour. You don't have to be here. If you don't want to abide by the rules that I set for myself, I'm going to release you. That's okay. And everybody should understand that. Certain black indigenous Europeans, the Moors, they went under those titles. So certain Moors helped navigate Christopher Columbus. I gave y'all all that. And the so-called European founding fathers didn't find anything. I showed y'all on Thomas Jefferson Quran and all that stuff, and George Washington's all their books and things. When you see on that, you see George Washington in front, and you see him on a horse and all that, and you see the brother in the background with the horse, the Moor with his turban on. He's the one showing the land. The European, when you see they hand their jacket, they ain't finding nothing. They don't know where they are. They went to the Indians, the Iroquois nation, seeking assistance to break away from their chief. Back in England, King George III, the Iroquois nation taught them their system of government. The only part that the so-called, that's why you read in the Bible and they talk about Jethro and really and talk about how he did the law system. That ain't nothing but Mayat. Cash App $KGB. Cash App $KGB. And I tell y'all, if I don't just ask for donations, if Moors give a donation, they serious, I give you literature. Anything that you confuse about Moorish science, if you go on my Instagram page, Ibn Hakim El Bey, all that, what else? Burning Bush Tabernacle.ts. All these books I have for y'all. I give mypdfbooks.com. When I'm lecturing, I done gathered and compiled over 20 books. Introduction of the Divine Creed of Moorish Islam, The Essence of the Moorish Fez, Sufism and the Triple Road, the Adapt Chamber, The House of Ali, Healthy Eating and Living. I show you how to work out, a lot of smoothies I use, how to eat clean. I got a lot of books to show you how to establish yourself as a business. I mean, I got a lot to show you how to understand what land trust. When a lot of people be talking about habeas corpus and the Sixth Amendment, I say, come on, but you got to know manufactuals. I break all this law stuff down and for you to understand real stuff. And then I deal with real attorneys and misnomer attorneys, and I deal with real so-called prosecutors, and I challenge them, and they can't hold water with what I'm saying because I'm from the university. I had to be manufactual because I had to do oral dissertations. I was able to cross-reference. Wouldn't you want somebody that manufactually know that can rest their case, defend you in a court of law, but you don't want nobody to defend you that way when we talking about history and religion? I'm not here to pacify nobody. You would want me to teach your kid, like even in sports and basketball, if you see the kids I train and how I train them and how they be smart and they be way better, you'll be like, whoa, I have experience in this. I have experience in this. You know? And misnomer black Indians were not conquered by Europeans or the so-called white man. Black Indians had a rich history of intertribal, just like today, warfare. When I tell people you can take all the misnomer Europeans, Albions, Trelodites off the world, and misnomer Negroes will still find a way to kill themselves. So don't come to me with that bullshit, excuse my candor. You still find warfare amongst each other that continued before and after European arrival. The intertribal warfare that existed among the misnomer black Indians in the Western Hemisphere was so great that it left them in a state of impotency, with impotency setting in after the years of clan warfare. That's why when we talk about clan, that's the truth, clan, because you clan up against yourself. When I used to go into prisons in Michigan, when I used to go in Thumb Correctional Facility, I do these little synopsis with a lot of the women prisoners. Say I got 20 women prisoners, or say I got 40 women prisoners. I talk to them and give them something to do. They'll all be together. But then when I deal with the so-called Negroes or the males, or I don't care what they believe, them Negroes will be all up in little small groups trying to take each other out. I'm like, you niggas crazy. Instead of understanding that it's more of y'all in strength in numbers, y'all are trying to take each other out, wipe each other out. That was one of the analogies with Nick Cannon movie. What is it called? Chirac. I'm trying to tell y'all, I find light in everything. We just don't know it. I'll show y'all all this stuff, and everybody know I'm telling the truth. I'm coming from elite, and ain't nothing wrong with being elite and initiated if I'm giving you the real. After the colonial government was established, America, black Indian nations continue to aid the new colonial government with military assistance. Just like when I show you in Thomas Jefferson Quran, did I bring that down here? When I talk about from the Hall of Montezuma to all that stuff, I'll show you how they gave money to the Berbers, to the Corsicas. I'll show you this history. This is American history. This ain't no Moorish history. Come on. General Mad Anthony Wayne, aka the Black Snake, was a black Indian who served under George Washington administration. The army of General Anthony Wayne consisted of mostly black Indians in the ranks and did the entire colonial government army. Besides black Indians making up the bulk of the new colonial government army, American Moors also filled up the ranks. George Washington established treaties or contracts with various black Indians, as well as with the Moors, for military support against other black Indian nations who did not support the occupancy of the new colonial government Americas. Now watch this, and I ask y'all a question. When all these people be talking about they trying to create some new law, this is how you wrong legally in law when your ass get handed to you and it's contempt of court. Okay, watch this. Watch this. These Negroes talk about the Sundry Moore Act and the treaty with Morocco and United States. And I say, what's the treaty of Morocco and United States? If an American kill a Moor, or vice versa, if a Moor kill an American, they want to be judged. They want to be judged under the same parameters of the law as that American citizen. Somebody tell me I'm wrong. So if that's the case, what you talking about? What different law is it? And I just explained that shit clearly. Research the shit. Tell me I'm lying. Somebody right here tell me I'm lying, and read all that shit and read it all for yourself and tell me I'm lying when people just be blabbing off at the mouth to you. Because in the court of law, there's no excuse. Somebody tell me I'm lying. Read it all. If an American citizen kill a Moor, or vice versa, if a Moor kill an American citizen, that Moor want to be judged at the same parameters as the American citizen with all his human rights. Tell me I'm lying. So what other law you want to be judged under? Or you telling me you will get you above the law? And I'll destroy that shit. And they be coming with straight law, talk about is law. You lying. I know about all the driving stuff. I know about all that. I don't talk about it because I ain't trying to get nobody head bust wide open, thinking they smart as hell. I'm not finna do that. That ain't my mission. The Moor's mission be banging on one thing, and I said, I thought the divine come first. After you done all that shit, like your mission just riding, driving, trying to get some free shit, where the schools? Where the food? Where the farms? Where the land? Motherfuckers be banging so hard on some dumb shit, trying to get some free stuff, driving with or without license. And I ain't saying you ain't got the right to do nothing, but at the end of the day, you can't tell me it ain't restrictions. You can't tell me that people didn't have drivers and they were doing it. Like a lot of these people fights is a waste of fucking time, a waste of energy. At the end of the day, what your kids doing and who your kids learning from? Do you want your kids to aspire to the shit that you doing? Man, please. And then most of these Moorish kids gonna be taught by somebody that don't look like them. You know I'm telling the truth. And most of they fucking kids go to public schools and they ain't teaching their kids nothing. Why? Because they too occupied with the dumb shit. That's how I roll. Because we don't get in trouble. Ain't no reason. When we a body, when we got the right to do exactly what I'm saying, everybody know I'm telling the truth. Most buffalo soldiers were black Indians dispatched by the U.S. Army to assist the colonizing and confiscating of other black Indian lands. Ask that, west of the Mississippi River. Ask that. Reservation natives who don't know the true history and who are also brainwashed by images feel that the buffalo soldiers, who are ill mistaken and ill classified as African Americans, helped the pale face driven them off their lands and unto reservations. Ask that when you let people give up narratives, talk about the Moors help do this. Man, King Leopold used those people to kill their own people, just like Hitler used the Feds and the Quran. Stop with that, man. For his regiment. And this last aspect of things, however, is true. In addition to this, one must keep in mind that most reservation natives are hybrids. Just like when you research what a hybrid is, go down when it's pertaining to people. It'll say some type of slave and some type of animal. And then we'll deal with eugenics and all that goofy stuff that Negroes like to quote. And that's pseudoscience. I destroyed this in academia and got standing ovations by all people that don't look like me. I showed y'all how misnomer many black Indians Moors fought in the American Civil War, either on the Confederate side or on the Union side, and were not acknowledged as being indigenous or native. They were acknowledged as being Negroes. Most of the Navajo code talkers who were used to assist the U.S. government in World War II were blue black Indians. Just like when we talk about Peter Moon, the Montauk, the blue black. Just like in Avatar, when they try to make shit caricatures, I go all through this shit. The photo and film footage of the black Navajo who participated in the war were carved out of history. The term Negro and colored was not only applied to black Indians to psychologically and spiritually remove them from the land, these colonized titles were also applied to black Indians who were incorporated into the slave market. I told y'all had slaves from so-called Africa and Hebos, Negroes, but you also had them coming from Europe. When I talk about the history of Oliver Cromwell, when I talk about King James, Black boy, y'all know I'm telling the truth. I start showing pictures in the museums. I go right in the Royal Archives where they study at and bring all this shit out. Black Indians did slave raids on each other before and after European arrival, the same way Negroes set trip on each other right now. Black Indians own other black Indians as slaves. I can show you this all through history. These slaves were also classified as Negroes. European writers took advantage of number 56. Black Indians own other black Indians as slaves. To say that the Indians own slaves, fake European images of so-called Indians were promoted, showing so-called Indians owning slaves. Art paintings were displayed, showing distorted images of natives in the Western Hemisphere owning dark-skinned people as slaves, who in most cases were also natives. The fake images of indigenous people in the Western Hemisphere, which usually displayed them as having pale skin, shows them owning slaves whose skin is always depicted as being dark. Watch I break this down. See, let me tell y'all something about when y'all don't know language and you get caught up in linguistic apartheid because most Negroes is friendly. No disrespect. No disrespect again, when them pale Arabs, what do Abibi mean and Habibi? See, they both don't mean the same thing. One mean black slave, one mean endearment. Habib and Abib, Habibi and Abibi. Tell me I'm lying. And then I'll jump all the way in the Arab slave trade and teach you some shit. Excuse my candor. When we talk about some white man this, well, they the same thing as well. If you're going to compare history, and they go around calling you Abibi. You don't even know which what, Abibi or Habibi. Talk to me, man. With all respect, I'm here to teach. You got them fake images of the Christ, Caesar Borgia, right? And then the fake one, Serapis Christos, the fake one, which is who? Alexander the Greek, wanted to be a god. And they displayed themselves as having a pale skin. Pale-skinned Europeans helped to create a consciousness which subliminally says that slaves and Negroes are synonymous. Negro, black, and color. Slaves and Negroes are synonymous. The Dred Scott Law, the Black Christian codes. A lot of stuff haven't been abolished. When most people hear or read about a slave, simultaneously, what come in your mind? A dark-skinned person in your mind. By showing fake pale-skinned natives owning dark-skinned people, help to create this illusion. The U.S. government and U.S. government-sponsored natives as well, preaching a doctrine that says the so-called black people became Indian or native people as a result of acquiring citizenship with different indigenous nations here in the Western soil, as to say that no dark-skinned people lived in the Western Hemisphere up until the transatlantic slave trade. And you get into the 1828 Webster Dictionary, and what the hell do it tell you what American is? The copper-colored races found here by the Europeans. Europeans can't find nothing that they was already here. See, you can't deny what I'm saying. Thanks for the donation. This tactic is exercised in attempts to discredit indigenous black Indians from claiming their true homeland and subliminally supporting their ridiculous notion. When I talk about the Black Christian code, when I talk about the religious rights of the indigenous people, come on, man. When I talk about the SF 181 form, when I talk about Resolution 75, when I talk about the Yamanese truth, which they tell what they need to start teaching the children, which I teach the children, which is your right. Every Moor should be dealing with me. Because we have the right to do this. That every dark-skinned person that is interpreted as black is from Africa. That's not true. That's not true. So I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? If Moors want this, I got it. I just wanted to touch on that a little bit because I said I'm going to teach a little bit today because people have been asking me. So I said I'll go for a little bit. If you want me to keep going, I'm going to give a little bit more. And I give gratitude when nobles give donations. If you want the book that I lecture from, I'll get it to you. It's no problem. If you give a $25 donation, it's no problem. I got you. Now I'm finna give a little bit of science and I'm done. I'm gonna give a little bit of more science. Remember, as a Moor, after Tasawwuf, I never gravitate to one science where I miss the essence of the rest. If you want to do 5 salats, that's on you. But don't say that in the Quran, because I know what al-salat consists of. And al-salat is not getting on your knees. That's number uno. So don't come to me with your beliefs and you ain't read. And you definitely ain't read the Bukhari Hadith. And don't come to me with no tradition. I ain't rocking with that. I deal with things. And I remove the veil of religious dogma. When I talk about sequential, when I talk about the table of sequential and geometrical values of the Arabic alphabet, I'm gonna show y'all some stuff so we can just get an understanding of what I'm saying. And I'm out of here. Things that we can agree on. I hope we understand. I don't have a problem with this. This ain't nothing but Kabbalah. I'm not teaching that today. When I talk about the Om and the vibrations and the I am, when I say Aya, Asha, Aya. So that ain't what I'm teaching today, but I want to jump around so you can get an understanding. As for the Holy Quran of the Moor Science Temple, since it was prepared and made available in the English language and English Kabbalah, here I go, gematria systems should be used to explore in depth. And we utilize a very specific English Kabbalah system revealed in Cairo, Egypt in 1904, but not understood and made workable until many years later. We talk about A equals 1, B equals 20, C equals 13, D equals 6, E equals 25, F equals 18, G equals 11, H equals 4, I equals 23, J equals 16. I don't want to go on and on. 1 equals A, 2 equals L, 3 equals W, 4 equals H, 5 equals S, 6 equals D. I'm just making a statement that's like the metanetter. Only way you can understand the signs and symbols if you got the alphabet of the people. See, these is facts. So, in our Moorish Quran, chapter 1, and you can cross-reference it with verse 11. It's a graphic representation. We're talking about the plane of the spirit, the plane of the soul, and then the plane of things manifest. When I talk about the most place, the holy place, and the quarter roundabout. When I talk about IDMR, when I talk about man made in the image of Elohim. My members that's on here, y'all know what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about this metaphysically cycle of man giving homage. And that illustration right here, this illustration, when I show you all this, the Om or the I am, like I said, I don't have a problem with things when you can explain it. I don't have a problem. But you can't come to me when you say what's law. So stay in the context. The illustration, it gives a visual synopsis of chapter 1 and chapter 11 in your Moorish Quran, as well as Act 2 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws, demonstrating that the Kabbalistic tree of life can be seen as a graphic representation of chapter 11, verse 19 and 27. Please write this down. Of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The European Masons know what I'm talking about. They got all your holy books laid on the table. They're only 32 and 33 degrees. In the Bible, Memphis and Mizraim, Thebes is Egypt. They know I'm telling you. No disrespect. They call me elite. And my people know my voice. And my people don't have to look like me if they accept me as their teacher. The 3 body positions of the Salat. It didn't say Al-Salat did it. It said of the Salat. Demonstrate the descent of spirit man, first into the soil of the soul and becoming a living soul, then into the plane of the things made manifest on the holy day or the 6th period day, as well as the reverse, from prone to upright, signifying his ascension via the raising of the vibration of his or her essence to what? That higher tone, that higher vibration, that or when I do my bowl, my Tibetan bowl, or my crystal bowl, understand the vibration, understand the tones, the rhythmic tones, the Sephiroth, or the spheres of experience, or the worlds can be emblematic of the true and Allah within the highest plane of spirit life, and the 7 Elohims on the plane of soul and the plane of things made manifest within their spheres of influence, or the ether's moors. And as time was when man was not, there is no beginning for man. And so, in the biblical scriptures, Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 occurs, or should occur. Every awakening moment, the Elohim are constantly at work, making man, shaping, molding our bodies, and thus guiding us ever upward towards unity with Allah, because the closest place to find Allah is in the heart moors. So when you research that shamanic diagram, when you look at these signs and symbols, when you see this shamanic diagram, when I'm telling you, man, the European agree with me because I'm Kabbalistically speaking, and I'm giving high science, and I'm pertaining this to us. I'm coming back. I'm taking my teeth out. We getting on the titty. I'm giving an analogy. I showed you that shamanic diagram in the form of a pan balance from a copy of the alchemical treaty, the Kitab, of the Al-Burun Fisher Asar, Al-Mizan, proofreading the secret of the science of balance by the Al-Jalaki. The undated and unsigned copy was made in Morocco and is typically of produce made in the scribal workshops of the Marrakesh during the second half of the 19th century. This treaty is concerned in part with the alchemical theory of the balance, but it also includes an elaborate classification of animals, plants, and minerals. In essence, it is a summary of knowledge up to the Al-Jakai's day, not only in alchemy, but also in cosmology, physics, astrology, and numerology. Izza al-Din Yadimir al-Jalaki, died 1342, was an alchemist from Khorasan. He fled his native country due to Mongolian invasion, or Mongol, same thing. He was one of the last and one of the greatest of medieval Islamic alchemists. His treatises and treaties, which reflects interest much broader than simply alchemy, preserve extension quotations from early authors. When I showed y'all the dimension stereograph polartode within a 4D hypercube, the graph represents of the unified field fitness, philosophy, and representative of the immense vastness and complexity of the inner space, or the inner spiritual realms. When we talk about the 720, or when I talk about the circle and the square, I just want to jump around because I want to get to the part, and I'm done. I did this before, and I'm going to do it again. We should not be confused, and that no religious person confuse us. I don't care what they look like. When you see this symbol, let's teach, because I'm removing the veil of the Quran and the so-called Bible, and I'm gonna connect this science to something that we can agree on. And if you're a scientist, all you're gonna do is agree. Thanks for the donation. We almost done. We in school, we've been miseducated for years and years. I know we got a couple hours out of our day. The symbol, the circle 7, the result of successful work with the previous symbols. Archetypal perfected man, divinity within matter, the mystery of that which cannot be contained with a progressively evolving containment. That's in your Moorish Quran, chapter 1. We talk about the Hebrew secret, the tradition, what? The Kabbalah, the mystery of what? Defice, the defice life, the containment made solvent, the death of the ego. So when you see on the so-called Baphomet, the Solvi Koga, one hand is up, one hand down, so that the rays of light, breathe of Allah, may germinate the seed buried within the grave of the ego, the 7. Every scientist know what I'm talking about. Every European know what I'm talking about. Every Mason know what I'm talking about. Why? Because they only 32 degrees, and they sons of Muslims. If somebody a son, who the hell you think the daddy is? The divine pluralism within monotheism, the Christian Trinity, Islamic monotheism, conflict resolved. I did this once, I'm finna do it again. We removing the conflict. You should be free, because we Moors. We should be sharing this. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever beloved in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. That's in the Bible, Gospel of John 3:16. Here go to Surah 112 and 1:4. Says he, Allah is one. He begots, not, nor is he begotten, and there is none like him. Same thing, just different synonyms. The source of the conflict lies in the confusion of a microcosmic aspect of the one true reality. When we talk about the God and the Son and its most recognized personal manifestation, misnomer Jesus, which is never with a J in the Hebrew dialect. I'm just giving you things that we can believe in and understand. Watch this. Divine pluralism within monotheism, the Christian Trinity, Islamic monotheism, the conflict resolved. Identity property of addition states that the sum of zero and any number or variable is the number of variable itself, right? See, this is facts. That's why I said get rid of everything you think when you're dealing with me except mathematics, because life is a mathematical equation. See, these is keys. If not, you looking for something outside of you, blaming somebody else for the bullshit that you doing. You know? These is facts. So, identity property of addition states that the sum of zero and any number or variable is the number or variable itself. This is the stuff that we should be teaching our kids. 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. Indicative of the linear, the finite thinking, causes the intellect and the intuition to clash. The divine pluralism within monotheism, the Christian Trinity, Islamic monotheism, conflict resolved. Identity property of multiplication states that the product of one and any number or variable is that number or variable itself. Or 1 × 1 × 1 equals what? 1. Indicative of the true Islamic thought, infinite, and that satisfies both the intellect and the intuition. No way you can deny what I'm saying. I want to show you a visual for you can understand what I'm saying. Look at that visual and get that in your hippocampus. Divine pluralism within monotheism and the Christian Trinity, Islamic monotheism, conflict resolved. The 1, the 3, the 7, and the 10 aspects of God and man. I hope y'all know what I'm talking about. That triangle, do you see them 3 circles in them synchronizing? Behold, thy Lord said to the angels, I will create Khalifa in the earth. They said, will thou place therein one who will cause mischief and the shedding of blood? While we do celebrate thy praises and glorify thy name, he said, I know what you do not know. That's Surah Al-Bakari 2:30 and 34. So watch this, y'all, and tell me if I'm lying, because they can't. The biblical term only begotten son and the Quranic term Khalifa are identical. If that's the case, therefore, the authentic tradition maintains that Surah 2:30 and John 3:16 are describing the same damn event. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. Anybody come out there with that pseudo, that Eurocentric and that Negrocentric mess? Well, I believe this and I think this. Ain't nobody asked you that dumb shit. No disrespect again. You should feel like I feel, because your own people been lying to you. Divine pluralism with monotheism, the Christian Trinity, Islamic monotheism, conflict resolved. The term world and the earth, the terms the world and the earth are indicative of that which is created or manifest reality. The terms God and Allah within the context are indicative of the timeless, the causeless cause that is beyond all manifestation, hence beyond all comprehension. The terms only begotten son and Khalifa refer to the God, Allah's presence within his own creation in man made in the image of the great God Allah, arm, leg, arm, hand. I'm speaking Kabbalistically, or the pentagram, arm, leg, arm, head. I'm speaking Kabbalistically. The miraculous means by which this insertion or assertion takes place is referred to in the Bible as what, y'all? The Holy Ghost. And Islamically as Baraka, Barakaa, and it constitutes the authentic tradition, the line that unites divinity and matter. So when you get some goofy person talking about, see, in Gematria, they say Barack Obama, no, get the hell out of here with that dumb shit. You don't even know, you don't even know how to spell or speak. I'm gonna show, I always gotta show visual so you can understand and get a base of what I'm saying, because we removing this stuff. We're gonna remove all that religious stuff what Moors coming with. We Moors, and you don't gravitate to one essence where you miss the rest. How can you say you a sheik and a doctor, a medicine man? How? Symbol, numbers, letters, and colors. Numbers are the universal language. Numbers are symbols of primordial thoughts forms, and thus are living things. Numbers measure vibrations, thus they define differentiation, manifestation. Numbers, maps, patterns. Patterns are the evidence, the shadow of the unseen reality. Letter, phonetic letters. Color, visual numbers. So numbers and letters are working tools to map the inner, the higher realms of experience, to scientifically investigate the unseen realities, the hidden cause beyond the manifest reality. The pattern is the continuum. When I show y'all pictures, this Pascal Beverly Randolph. Come on, man. Let me read something to you. 1825, 1875, Asiatic, half original, born in 5 Points, section of the New World, New York City. I tell you so much history about New York City that we don't know. Traveled widely, studied in Egypt, Europe, and the Middle East. We know there ain't no such thing in the Middle East, so you know he was still in Egypt. Quietly, yet officially, recognized as the conduit of transmission of the deepest secrets of the Western esoteric revival with secret orderism, just like Adam Blavatsky, and they get credit to our prophet. Ain't nothing secret with me. I'm giving y'all keys. Simultaneously involved in fringe politics, organized Asiatics during the Civil War for their fight for citizenship, organized and taught at schools for Asiatics, recognized as the first public Rosicrucian in America, taught Madam H. P. Blavatsky, who later duplicated or just rewritten his organization structure and motto. Listen to what I just said. Recognized as the first public Rosicrucian. And then I asked Morris, isn't our Morris Quran gathered and compiled from the Rosicrucian manual? What Rosicrucian manual? The Unto Thee I Grant? What's in the introduction of the Unto Thee I Grant? Monotheism. Nobody can deny what I'm saying. Keynote speaker at the Nation Convention of Asiatic Leaders in 1864 in Syracuse, New York. Look it up. From the book, The Ansiatic Mysteries, which I have available, Darwin and his abettors are mistaken. So right off the top, he tell you Darwin, that Darwin theory, all bullshit. Even that caucus with all that, with what's his name? Bloomberg, all that stuff, pseudo. The immortal soul of man is not, never was developed from any stage of monkeyhood, and label God Almighty, who affirms it. God affirms this. God said man was made in an image. Ain't say for no goofy monkeys, and we gonna accept that shit. If a monkey then, a monkey is still today. Ain't no monkey. How do you hell evolve from a monkey and a monkey still is a monkey? You ain't evolved from no monkey. That's pseudoscience. The eternal spark within us, and which never dashes except when the loving female brings to her feet the loving man in their mutual infloration of the soul, and the sex of death of both was created by Allah God himself billions of ages ago in the foretime, and finds its human body only when the passion opens the mystic door for it to enter the man, though him the woman, through her the world, through them the spaces, and through it again, Allah God, not as a drop of an infinite ocean of mind, but as a being in the heavenly hierarchies. What follows? Why? That he should never forget his featly to women or to woman, but remember who and what she really is, the gem of God's own oral crown. That white fez with the gold tassel, which are daughters of American Revolution. Come on, man. Y'all know who this is. Y'all know who this is. I'm telling you. They look just like them, or they dressed up in Moorish attire. All that stuff is in Moorish attire. Question from Aleister Crowley, speaking on opposing forces working to hinder the objective of the authentic tradition. What I am out to complain of is what I seriously believe to be an organized conspiracy of the Black Lodges to prevent people from thinking. Magic with it without tears. See, he wanted to be accepted, clandestine. He wanted to know what we knew. I'm telling you, man. Black, according to science, means death. White means purity. Purity means God, and God means ruler of the land. What is meant by the word black? Black, according to science, means death. What kind of science? Mathematically speaking, black equals death. Death is no enemy of man. It is a friend who, when the work of life is done, just cuts the cord that binds the human boat to the earth, that it may sail on smoother seas. And there is a holy ministry in the flesh being gone, and man cannot die. The spirit man is one with Allah, and while Allah lives, man cannot die. Black, according to science, means death. White means purity. Purity means God, and God's mean ruler of the land. Science, the intellectual and the practical activity, encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and the natural world through observation and experience. The relation of the world, black to death. Chapter 17, verse 35 to 37. Alchemical death. Disintegration, defined as the fermentation of elements until a state of dissolution. The alchemical term for purification is what? Negrito. Just like black beans in Spanish are what? Negrito beans, and occurs via an extreme heating of the material to be transformed within a containment. So we just talking about copper getting certain colors. What's the American and copper color races? I'm just proving things as I speak. Or the flask. And the spiritual death of the ego. The physical body is the flask. The fire is the true will. Developed, inflamed by the persecuted sacrifice. This process is referred to by the Taoists as practicing to die, and the Sufis' mantra, die before you live. Cornelius Agrippi, De Occulta Philosophies Libra Tres, Negrito, or blackness, is the alchemical sense, means decomposition by the penetration of the external fires. The inner fire is activated and the matter starts to purify. The body is reduced to its primal matter from which it originally arose. This process is also called cooking. The black earth is closed up in a vessel or a flask and heated. Don Pernity, Dictionary, Mytho Hermetique, 1758. Purification is so effective that it destroys the old nature and form of the rotting bodies. It transmutes them into a new state of being to give them a totally new fruit. Everything that has life dies. Everything that is dead purifies and finds a new life. That's what we're supposed to be doing in the science. The alchemical process, the negrito, gives rise to what? The albedo, the white light, divinity of man piercing through the developmental stage of what? That negrito. It represents man's first recognition and communication with his and her own divine nature. In fact, nothing dies except what hinders and obstructs the transformation, and that's the ego. Death indeed is transformation, symbolized in astrology as the 8th house and the tarot deck, and the 16th trump, aka the Tower Moors. Alchemically, the planet Saturn and the base metal lead. The phrase solvit colga, solvit what is fixed, can only occur within that negrito, and only through that negrito is divine man revealed. See, these is keys. They'll try to be secret and talking to you in the secret masonry and all this behind the walls and have you paying stupid. And all you got to do is be a member. And I ain't even jumped high. I'm just removing the veil. I'm just removing the veil. Thanks for the donation, Noble. Look, one of my nobles said in Michigan, he said, man, he was just like, I don't have nothing to say. He said, I got a black degree in African American history. He's like, they ain't teach us none of this stuff. And he said it took him all them years and all that debt. And just going here today, I resurrected him. So gratitude. And these are not my words. That's what I tell people. And I give you the literature to study. Prima materia is the plinic substance of verse 38, a literal return to the original state. When people talk about some reparations, no black person is never going to get reparations. If you got a master, the only person that ever got paid for reparations is the slave master. These is facts. So when I'm with reparations, but in order to get reparations, you must be restored back to your original state before you were tampered with. So if you don't want to deal with that, you ain't nothing but a distraction. Especially if you have a shirt on that say kill your colonizers, right there you saying you black, you a Negro, you a slave, period. So you can't even twist it when somebody question you. These entertainers be propaganda. They know damn better. But yeah, you got to be to that original state or first matter so that the external fire can penetrate fully and activate the inner fire to bring about the albedo state, the big bang of the Western physics. In chapter 1 of your Moorish Quran, read it. The prima materia equates to the ethers of the plane of soul and the dark matter of the quantum physics, and the inner fire that must be touched by the penetrating external fire is the seed that comes forth from the heart of Allah. When I say where's the closest place to find Allah? In the heart. That's inside. Type of death, you got the spiritual death, the carnal death. When I say you can be physically alive but spiritually dead, you got the ancestral soul death through a long process, and you got the physical and the civil death. You know? So I'm bona fide, can do it for the authentic tradition called by us Moorish American Muslims, the everlasting gospel. This is not occultism. This is not mysticism. This is not no magic or sorcery, although just as potent as all of those. This is Islamism, religious Islamic monotheism from the Moorish American perspective. Its teachings will serve to put the practitioner well within reach of the secrets that rule not only the present world, but the world of the hereafter. For surely, true religious knowledge rules the world. So I'm going to stop right there, man. I'm going to stop right there and give gratitude. So like I tell everybody, gratitude for the donations. If you want to be a member and student, that's the only way you're going to learn. And you should want to learn systematically. When I teach, I give all books and all information. If you want to buy books that's expensive on Amazon, we have them at mypdfbooks.com. You can get them downloaded to Office Max or Staples. They'll print them and bind them for you for a small fee. If you want your Moorish American fairs and any other Moorish American regalia, you can get that at moorishhaberdasher.com. That's moorishhaberdasher.com. Any questions about our temple and school, please send a message to bbtsciencetemple.com. Also, Moorish, right now, I'm opening the floor for Moorish to join us every Sunday at 2 p.m. AZ time zone on Instagram at burningbushtabernacle.ts. Please give a small charitable contribution. Also, if you want me to do Sunday school every Sunday, I will come on YouTube and do it for the people. And all we ask is for a small donation. If everybody gave $20 every Sunday, I give you everybody literature. And whatever you want to give, I accept anything from anybody, and I still give you the literature. But I'm just saying, I have a job to do, and we have a job to do as well. So gratitude for everybody joining in, taking time out your day. Any questions about anything? More if y'all want Clock of Destiny, I have all that stuff for y'all. Any questions? Any questions? See, when I talk about the doctrine of discovery, from other writers, they agree with me. Europeans, everybody, on all levels. It ain't nothing nobody have that you got to go to Amazon and spend a whole bunch of dollars. I can convert them anything to a PDF. So any questions, Morris, while we're here? 'Cause I'm about to close. Any questions? Please keep your questions legit. Don't come with no goofy stuff because I'm going to block you for life. So any questions on something serious? If not, don't ask me no question about nationalizing you because I'm not going to answer that. Don't ask me no question about drive without no license because I'm not going to answer that. Don't ask me about nothing. You being some domestic terrorist because I'm not going to answer that. I break this down very simple, so it should be no questions. So anybody, I'll leave it open for a couple minutes to ask me something serious. If not, I'm out of here. The floor is open. I'm done. Like I said, the floor is open. I'm trying to leave it open for a few minutes for anybody that want to ask a legit question. If you don't want to ask a legit question, thank you guys for the donations from Cash App $KG All of my books are available on mypdfbooks.com. You should at least get my books, Divine Creed of Moorish Islam. You should at least get my book, The Esoteric Science of the Fez, so you can understand it. So I got one more minute, and I'm out of here. Gratitude, Noble Solomon. Gratitude, Noble. Gratitude. And those beautiful words you put on Instagram. And like, if anybody donates something to me today, I will give you list. Like I said, if you email me with goofy stuff, I'm gonna block you for life. So if you gave a donation, I will let you hit me up personally at Goodman, GOODMANKHARY @gmail.com. So if you gave a donation today, and if you gave a $25 donation today, I will PDF you a copy of this and my book, The Divine Creed of Moorish Islam. So you can know. If you donate $35, I'll throw in a bonus book, and it'll be my Fez book. So you'll get 3 books for $35, 2 books for $25. I'm gonna give you a free gift anyway. I don't like to tell people, but anytime I always give extras. They'll be like, damn, he gave me that extra? Yeah, because I appreciate it when people do business with me. I'm my own boss. I can do that. You can't go to Amazon and say, okay, I got this book. They're gonna be like, so what? I give you extras because I can, because I produce it all. I don't have to put none of my books on Amazon and give nobody nothing. And I'm a nonprofit too, so I can give my literature for donations. That's what I do. So any other questions? If not, man, I love y'all and gratitude. I'm going to close out with our Moorish American prayer. Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my guide, my protector, and salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, Noble Ali, Shalom Alakim, Ayash Ayah, peace, peace, peace. Assalamu alaikum, Hotep, and Islam. Somebody hit me up, they would say a sheep, and I have to leave this to y'all. You gotta read law. When I talk about habeas corpus and the 6th Amendment, understanding things, in certain things, understanding we have the right to face your accuser. That's like 6th Amendment. And then you got to really know the ramification of habeas or habeas corpus, and really get into what I'm saying, the legalities of it. So you can be manufactured, so you just don't get excited when a person throw a manual at you or throw a driving manual. Like a lot of stuff that I show on Instagram, like on my pages and things, a lot of Moors be talking about it, but a lot of people get in trouble for that because that be their only fight. I'm like, dude, that's not what we doing. That's not what we here for. That's not what I'm here to teach. So I only teach things to students. So gratitude, man, gratitude. Any other questions? If not, more, I'm just showing y'all stuff because I go to mypdfbooks.com and go on and get you Exhuming of the Nation. It's only $75. It's $250 on Amazon. Go on and get it. Go on and get it today. Treat yourself. You talk about it some Valentine's Day. Don't go waste your money at none of them nasty restaurants where it's not going to mean nothing. Eating them glued pieces of meat. You talk about you thinking it's some top shelf steak. Go on and get something you love. Go on and get you a fez. Go on and get some literature. Support what you say you love. Support what you say you love. And I'm right here. And I'm going to give you everything that what you donate, I'm going to give you way more than value. I guarantee you that. So any questions? Cash App, $KG Bay. Any other questions? Hit me up on Instagram. Ibna Hakeem L Bay. IBNA Hakeem L Bay. I also work out every morning and evening on my workout page on Instagram. It's called I Am the Morris Trainer. You can follow my workout Instagram page, I Am the Morris Trainer, and I'm grinding every morning. And I do it privately on Zoom with a lot of my students. So we do a lot, and you can join me and be a part of something and change and resurrect your whole body. If you want to learn business and how to set up a business, I show you how to get your articles of organization. I show you how to register on Duns and Bradstreet. I show you how to get Quick 30. I show you how to operate out of business. And I don't charge nobody no $4,000, $5,000 like I'm finna get you some $50,000 trade line, all that goofy stuff. I show you how to operate out of business and stop operating personally and operate private. And everything, your trucks, everything, your house and everything become business. Your bills, phone bills become business transaction. And I show this and I teach people how to do this for a small fee. On the college campus, man, students pay me $400. If any of my members on here on YouTube and I'm on live on our Temple and School page at burningbushtabernacle.ts, ask my brothers and sisters what I charge my members. Only a $50 donation. And they all establish their business credit. And they operate as a business. And I speak the truth. And I deal with results. So with that being said, man, I love y'all. Peace, 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 peace. I left the stage open for questions. So nobody can say I didn't leave it open for some legit questions. So if we're done, we're done. I think I left it open for 5 minutes. So if nobody have any other questions, thank you. So please don't email me with any questions about nothing. Just email me about books and things and you donate if I can get you your items. Please don't email me about any science and you have the opportunity to do that because I'm not going to answer any science in my personal email. I'm not going to do that. So I'm forewarning you. If you don't get a response from me asking me something personally, I told everybody, anything about the teachings in the school, bbtsciencetemple.com because I'm trying to monetize the platforms. So if you want to know anything, my Mutis respond to bbtsciencetemple.com anytime Morris leave messages on there. My personal email that I just gave, goodmancurry, KHARY @gmail.com, is for when I'm going live and I do specials. And I say, if you donate $25 today, when you cash out $25, please email me with a screenshot that you donated the cash out so I can get your literature to you right then. That's what I do for the general public. So when I'm speaking in, if you don't pay attention to the rules, you screwed. I also, like right now, say it's 11 more is on here right now, right? So say if all 12 more is like, man, I want a fez. I say, okay, well, I need all y'all names. I'll do a raffle, 12 people. That's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 6, 7, 8, 9, 100, 10, 20. Actually, I want 13, so it'd be 130 because for the shipping got to be covered. So 100, so say 130, say 120. 120. So that's 12 mores. Bam. I'll do that every time. Out of those 12 people, someone will win. Because I don't need to do no raffle with a whole bunch. I don't do like that. Out of them 12 people, every day, if it's 12 people on here and they say they want a fez, every day I can do a raffle. All 12 people can donate $10. I'll do the raffle right there live. Everybody, whoever the name is, I say, you number 1. If you John Henry, you number 2. Rebecca Sue Bay is number 3, all down the line. I shake it up live, boom, 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 pull out the name. Bam, this person won the fez. Bam, bam, bam. We'll make your fez to the head size you make, ship it out. I do that shit every day. I've been doing it and no mores participate. I did a whole commercial about it. No mores do it. And I'm like, dude, this too simple. I'm like, this too simple. I said, if you want to, if it's 12 mores on here, if people follow me, I said, I would do a sale every day, a survey every day. Is the U.S. passport legit? I said, I'm gonna ask something. See, I said, I'm not gonna, come on, man. I just said what I'm not gonna answer. I just said, See, that's why I be saying legit. What you mean if the U.S. passport legit? Do you think the U.S. passport is legit? And if it ain't legit, and if anything else that a person can create and get over out of different countries, the thing, what that say about the laws? That's what I be saying. Come on, is it legit? Is it legit for who? A lot of people be confused. A national is, if you a national, that means you got allegiance to another country. I just talk about when these Moors talk about they finna expatriate. Expatriate, when they talk about leaving the de facto government, but also when you leave it, you're not allegiance to nothing. So when the person say, is the U.S. passport legit? Legit for what? Legit to who? And if you've been using something and it didn't work, why are we worrying about is it working? No disrespect, but when we say is the U.S. passport legit, on what standards? What do we mean? Okay, and I'll throw it right back. Did you get to where you need to be with it? If you got where you need to be with it, fine. If a person comes and say, hey, they made this Morris travel document and they got out the country with it, I ain't got nothing to say about it. What that tell you about the U.S. laws then? I hope you be able to get back. Just like Hassim Bey, Mos Def, when he used that world passport, you see he had a problem. So I ain't denying nothing. If you can make a passport and it works for you, so be it. If you came up with something and created, you got here to here, and you ain't just get to no airport and you lying and pulling some shit out your pocket, show you going through the TSA, show you them stamping that whatever you got, that travel document, show them stamping that, and you getting out the country with that, show that. And if it works, fine. And not just in no China, if it works everywhere, then so be it. I just throw it back on somebody else, and then they start backtracking like, and I don't play that. I don't play that. Well, what works? Do you got a U.S. passport? Have you been traveling? If you've been going places, so what it's about? We always try to say this and that and the other. Everybody got this. Everybody got a license. Everybody got a birth certificate. All that. So it's the government versus the people. And then you being more specific. And if you say the laws protect you, then I'm just here defending the right laws. So when a person asks those questions, I say based on what? Based on somebody talking, making videos, talking about the passport, making up some, asking them what they got to get out the country. They probably ain't never been nowhere. So what are we talking about? A whole bunch of internet people. Any other questions? Hey, you say you seen them more showing how to file in a certain manner. Well, okay, if you seen them more, I tell a person if they want to do it, go do it. I tell everybody, I don't deal with what I seen or what I heard. And that's what most people do. Oh, I seen, I heard, well, go do it and see if it worked and see if it worked for you. That's all I tell Moors. Nobody going to get me in no debate, no slander, because I'm not here to debate and slander. If it worked for you, all I can say is Islam. But what most people say that they never done, they always talk about somebody else. And that's what most of us do. Oh, I seen somebody do this and I heard, I said, okay, but did you do it yourself? Did you see the outcome? What's the outcome? It's always about what somebody else done. I don't talk from third person or what somebody did. Everything I talk about is explain I've done and I'm living it. So if I'm not living it or I've done it or I don't know it's true for a fact, it can prove it, I'm not finna speak up on I heard. Or I'm gonna give matter-factual. So it's like in a court of law, that ain't gonna be no defense if you saying, oh, I heard and I this. They're gonna be like, no, prove it. So whatever you talk about will not be manufactured. 1 Thessalonians 5:21. Prove all things and hold fast to what is good. A person can't prove it because they'll say they heard and they seen. No disrespect. I gotta be manufactured. So when I ask that, I say prove it. A person can't prove it. They'll say they heard and they seen, and then you got to go reach out to a third party person, and a third party person ain't finna come and speak on that. Especially if they're not doing what they doing. Especially if you don't know the outcome. What's the outcome? And then whatever the outcome, is that better in you? Is that better in your people? Is that better in the movement? Anything that we doing individually, and it's supposed to be a movement, is that better in the movement? Is that helping the kids? Because I'm not in it for no fight. I'm not in it for no battle. I'm in a whole a war. So a lot of the things that we doing, trying to get something, I understand when we talk about writ writers, I understand writ and all law, and I'll try to do this in real manifestations. I ain't saying nothing ain't wrong. I do this in a real way. In the real way. I understand what writs are and habeas and habeas corpus and the Sixth Amendment. I do this in real life. But if a person saying they saw something, so where? Like, and so that's all I'll say, man. There's no disrespect to with nobody doing it. If a person feels it's working for them, that's fine. I don't want no parts of it. I don't want no part. I don't want no parts of nothing with nobody doing just banging. I don't pertain. I don't do nothing. I'm part of the temple too. All our stuff should be the same. If you part, like I tell people when I start pulling out stuff and they say they part of the Moorish Science Temple of America, what our prophet Noble Drew Ali set up, and I started showing how the temple is set up, and I started showing everything. What people started doing is backtracking because there's only one temple. They begin things from fascist groups, and people be having dates on things. And I say, well, how you got a date on something? And that's the same thing you say the European do. So you expire because nothing through the temple, it don't expire. Because life is power of attorney for life. When you members of it, when you adopted in something, when your birthrights, when you part of something for life. See, and so I'm not here to disrespect. It's only one temple. There's only one science. There's only one Moorish Science Temple. And if our IDs can be looked up, if you for the temple can be looked up in the Moorish vital statistics of Moors, our IDs will be returned to a certain place. Everything I'm saying can be looked up in the CCRD about the Moorish Science Temple of America. The county recorder of these in the Clerk County. I'm telling the truth. So I understand if a person say they part of the Moorish Science Temple, that's great. So we all should have an understanding, especially if a person say they a sheik. We should be able to give homage to the higher science and an understanding and say a lot of people in temples, they just go over bylaws like church people do. Where's the science? The sheik just going over a whole bunch of old stuff. I know people in temples, man, that in there eating Oreo cookies and stuff, playing around, doing criminal stuff, filing fake taxes. But they can't deny the truth how the temple is set up because they're in Chicago and they set up a certain way. I don't got to blast people out, but if they come around, I'm going to tell you exactly who they are. That's why they don't come to me with that bullshit. Because I don't do nothing criminal. The divine comes first. I know what I can do and how I can operate. The Jews all in New York, like I said, when you go to New York and you see their communities and what they doing, they operate in the law. They own neighborhoods. The same way I own land in my neighborhood. Damn blocks. The same way. Under the certain laws that protect me. Blocks. And I can make my blocks private when I start developing. The same way our members are with our land that we got in the middle of Arizona and Vegas. The same way. So I don't understand. And we talk all this law stuff. I just saying, we talk about we law and we break down all this stuff, who we are to the law, and then we want to turn around and try to break the law. And I just said we part and parcel of this government, but we can set up our own government in the government the same way. And I tell people, I don't be understanding it. We be confusing the science because we're not learning the divine. We're trying to get something from somebody. We're trying to drive without license. We're trying to squat in the house. We're trying to get something instead of understanding how to think first. And once you understand how to think and slow you down, that destroys the ego. And you ain't looking for a whole bunch of shit, paper terrorist shit that a lot of people be doing and never teaching the divine, just banging. And you look at their lives and say, what do you have all the time? What about your children? What about all this? Nothing. Because man, I show these papers, man, but I'm not going to do it because I done it so many times. I done show stuff from the Moorish Science Temple of America 1 that show you what you get from the temple. I mean, your amnesty oath. And a lot of people say you don't need this no more, or you don't need that. And the reason why they're keeping that from you, because they ain't going to teach you the truth of everything. That what? I teach you everything that the Europeans have and make them sit on their hands. If you understand the 48 laws of power and understanding the art of war is understanding how everybody think. The true art of war is understanding how everybody think. See, I break this stuff down. A lot of people be having ego, but they can't deny. It's only one temple. If you go and say you part of the Moorish Science Temple of America, they can look that shit up. Doc numbers, Information Act, precedent in law cases. It's the legal right. You say you part of the Moorish Science Temple of America. You say that in court under the oath. Show me the paperwork. Show me that you part of the Moorish Science Temple. Show me your paperwork for the temple that come from the temple that say it. Show me all your paperwork. Show me your birth certificate, your amnesty oath, your 720 degree, your nobility papers that say that you're a noble, that say you able to teach this, that say that this, that, and the other. Show me your degree. Show me all that say Leviticus 25 for your bay and all that. Show me all that say you a bay and L. Show me with your family crest on there of the Moors history and how you've been adopted and all that stuff. It ain't no disrespect. I'm just saying, if people say they part of the temple, and I say at my school, I'm from the temple. A lot of my members are not from the temple. I came out the temple because I'm not going to have people getting caught up in those people in there that's dumb, teaching religion and rhetoric, talk about they can nationalize you, and they be talking about exhumed of the nation and writing the interest. These fools lying. Only thing they can do is make you a damn Freemason. So I had to come out the temple and create my own school, legally and lawfully. legally and lawfully. Man, and I show this stuff all the time, and Moors be mad. We got 3 IDs. We got our nationality card, we got our travel ID, and we got our member card. It got the 1010 number on one, and the 1010 ain't nothing but our religious affidavit. On the back, it got all the Leviticus code and everything, talk about this card, everything, and everybody be knowing what I'm saying. It's a lot of papers. It's a lot of papers. And it ain't no hate or nothing. People create their own. I established the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple for a group of Moors, the same way the temple did. I have our members have school ID the same way. To affiliate, I'm their tribal leader, which I have the right. I'm a tribal leader, the religious rights. That's why our prophet said, don't give up your last name for a morsel. That's why I tell people, I don't diss nothing. I'm not going to recreate the temple. I'm coming out the temple and teach the truth. And created a school of Moors, and we legit. And I got a syllabus, and I got a curriculum. So when Moors come with that, I don't care what no Moors say in no fascist group. They can't deny what I'm saying, because I'll just open this right here on them. I'll just open this. Now and then they say, well, what the people that I know who the people are. Them brothers, them frauds that did some shit, that put their name on this. But see, we ain't talking about this. We talking about how the temple is set up. That's free information. That can be looked up in the CCRD. You can get the original with a seal on it or just a copy. See, these is the facts. These is the keys. And can't nobody lie what I'm saying. So when they say they Moorish Science Temple of America, and then when I start showing all the paperwork and all how the prophets set things up, that's why I'm speaking how I'm speaking. And everybody know I'm telling the truth. But people be coming up with Moorish Science Temple America of the world with dates on it. And I say it's only Moorish Science Temple of America what our prophet set up. And if the people that's from the temple, it's everlasting. Just like when you a power of attorney, you have things, it's everlasting. It don't end. I read this stuff over and over and over. I read this stuff over and over and over. That's why I be laughing. Moors are confused on navigating. Because they listen to bullcrap. Some criminal paying some notes. That's just slavery. You finna pay somebody to, that's crazy. And we think that, I claim my nationality, I do this, or some sheik, some more say that they can't nationalize you. They got to nationalize you seen through the hoops, and nationality is the order of the fucking day. If our prophet was in the flesh and Moors came, he'd be national. He'd like, you want to be a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America? He'd explain it that he not nationalize you. You a member of the temple. You a Moor by birth. I can teach you the Moorish culture. You proclaim, declare, and have due process. I teach you the laws. The laws is the SF 181 form, annexing your Bay and L. Declaration of Human Rights. Resolution 75. That's the law pertaining to nationality. That's what? International law. Come on, man. We talk about the AA22 number. I get the Moorish Science Temple, and our prophet didn't never create the Moorish Science Temple for Islamic sect or some government body. Our prophet said when the flesh is gone, it was others that's going to take this and guide it and take it to a new era and sit them Moors on their butt. A lot of these people are twisting the teachings because they criminals, because they want something. Most of these Negroes is poor bums. No disrespect. Look at it. Look at most of these brothers, man, that's doing all this fraudulent stuff, and they trying to get this drive without license. I'm like, dude, I get all that. I say I know you got the right to do all that, but that's what you say is being a Moor. Doing all that stuff. It ain't nothing else about you a Moor that you're going to do but that. That's all you're going to do. You're going to bang that hard and care. You care that much about all this shit. And then at the end of the day, what? At the end of the day, what you thinking? At the end of the day, what? Because that's all I be. At the end of the day, are you doing all that what you did for your kids? What you did from your empress? Who you taught? Is your son wearing the turban? Is your daughter wearing the turban? Is your empress rocking with you? Are you doing better at home? Are you building? Are you self-sufficient? Are you eating right? Are you doing things in your community? Are you teaching? Are you volunteering? Are you going back to the schools where they've been miseducated, saying something to them people that miseducated you? Or are you trying to get some free and drive without license and file some fucking paperwork? That's what these Moors is caught up doing. Oh, I'm a writ writer. Man, nobody got time with that. So with that being said, I love y'all, man. Peace, and I'm out.